You can feel a pleasant sensation when the blocks fall in the right place. You can feel a deep satisfaction when you erase masked lines perfectly. Let's keep cool and try it. I don't know what that means, but that's what it says on the box. I should probably turn it. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's what it says on the box. It's Tetris X for PlayStation. Japan-only release. And I guess we're going to have fun with this. I suppose. And the battery's dying on me, so yeah, let's begin. Tetris X, released in March of 1996 for Sony PlayStation and Japan only. The first Tetris game to grace the console, I believe, predating Jellicoe's Tetris Plus game. Most notably, this is the first Tetris game released after creator Alexei Pajitnov regained the rights to his creation, which meant that he could start making some real money off this thing. And good for him. Right, so like I said, this is a Japan-only release. It's from Bulletproof Software, who made a bunch of Tetris games for the Japanese market. We've sampled some of those games in the past. They usually come with different modes and flavors, and they also eventually saw release on the recent Tetris Forever compilation, which we also looked at ages ago. Tetris X, however, did not get the Tetris Forever treatment, which means the only way to play this at the moment is via import. And what are you getting out of this first venture for Tetris into PlayStation 32-bit CD-ROM technology territory? You're getting classic Tetris, 4 difficulty settings, and a large collection of digital backgrounds that change every 10 lines cleared. Oh, and a 4-player battle mode that you're probably never going to use unless you have a multi-tap device of some sort on hand, along with 3 other people to play this thing with. In other words...
nothing! Absolutely nothing!
I mean, come on, you couldn't even throw a bombless into the mix for good measure? Pfft, what overrated tripe. Anyway, Tetris X is, well, plain Jane, regular Tetris, and I think we've sampled enough of these fornicating Tetris games over the years that we should know more or less how these things work out. Anyway, 2 rotate buttons, hold down to push your tetrometer down faster, pretty basic fare for the most part. Game gives you 4 difficulty settings, which merely starts you off at different levels. Easy starts off at level 1, normal starts off at level 11. It isn't all that different from level 1 because the speed increases are gradually slower than most Tetris titles. Hard starts off at level 51, which is pretty fast in the drops, and Expert starts off in the hundreds where pure pain exists. And that's it. No extra modes, no garbage blocks. I think they've saved the most changes for the multiplayer that's just a fancier Tetris Battle Gaiden, which you could play on Super Famicom via Tetris Forever, and also 4-player multiplayer I'd imagine is common in most modern Tetris games. I mean, let's be fair here. Tetris X isn't necessarily bad Tetris, it's perfectly fine Tetris, and honestly one of the better playing Tetris games out of the Japanese market, which seems to like the controls to be either super slippery or sticky stiff. And while Tetris X falls somewhere on the sticky side of things, control is generally far smoother than I expected it to be, almost hitting that nice balance that only a handful of games would achieve until the guideline era became a thing. Visually, it's a clean-looking Tetris game with a straightforward layout, nothing particularly amazing. Text looks kind of cheap looking, but I do like the spinning Tetris thing in the corner. And as alluded to, every 10 lines cleared produces a different background photograph to grace your optical nerves, of which there are plenty to discover, and what else can I say in this regard other than they're of generally decent quality. I do enjoy the audio output of Tetris X for the most part. You've got 3 tracks to choose from, all of them essentially remixes of past Tetris themes from previous games, including a pretty sweet take on Technotris that I actually kinda dig. All very nice and very easy listening tunes to serenade you on this rather tepid Tetris adventure. And the sound effects aren't too shabby either. Overall, Tetris X is... well, it's perfectly playable, perfectly functional vintage Tetris with a wide variety of background images, a couple sweet tunes, and a 4-player mode that ought to be fun for a lark if you have the means to play it. But it's also nothing you haven't seen in just about any other Tetris game released up to this point, both in Japan and abroad. And even the Tetris games on PS1 that we did get here have more to offer than this game does. All in all, what Tetris X does is perfectly fine, but what it does is also easily available elsewhere. Been there, done that. You're not really missing much by skipping out.